The Nintendo Switch, it took a while to warm up to first-person shooters, but now it's got this incredible library for fans of the genre. So today we're going to be running through 30 fantastic options on the system. I'd also love to hear your favourites in the comments, so drop those down below, and let's get started. My name's Alex, this is SwitchCorner, and if you do enjoy the video, consider subscribing. It helps out the channel a huge amount, and while this list is in no particular order, I will be saving my 3 personal favourites till the very end of the video. I've also included in the upper left if I have a dedicated review, and if the title features gyro support. Severed Steel to kick things off, and I start here because although many people adore this game, it only just made the cut for today due to my disappointment with the port. I found the visual downgrade to be a bit excessive and noted frequent frame rate drops, especially in complex areas. What elevates it above many though is the fluid movement system as you dodge bullets, wall run, slide and just destroy the world around you. It also features a story mode and an option to simply chase fast times and higher scores. Definitely a careful balance, this one, of strategy and gunplay, which I do enjoy, especially the fact that you don't actually reload, you simply acquire new weapons on the run. Intense stuff that feels incredibly rewarding when things are working. Bright Memory Infinite is definitely a game I feel a little mixed about as well. Visually the game is stunning, showcasing impressive graphics, and it's for sure entertaining action. However, its main drawback is its incredibly short length. It's clocking in at around 2 hours, giving it almost a tech demo feel. The story is utter nonsense. It revolves around the weather and an ancient mystery, or at least that's what I think it's about. It's definitely difficult to comprehend. But despite these shortcomings, look, the action is a lot of fun, and the katana melee attack in particular, it's a really nice extension of your skill set. Additionally, the game features some real standout boss encounters. I just wish it was longer. That brief duration means it's definitely challenging to recommend over its peers. It's definitely going to be worth considering though when you do see a deep sale. Bulletstorm Duca Switch Edition was the crossover I didn't know I needed. Here you step into the shoes of Grayson Hunt, a former member of the elite assassin group Dead Echo. Grayson must navigate a hostile wasteland, seeking revenge on the man who once gave him unthinkable orders. Now as you do progress through the single player campaign, you'll face more than a few lethal enemies. The game features as well a unique skill shot system which rewards you for executing creatively, and yeah, the deadly kills here, they never get old in this kind of slow motion presentation. This edition then also allows you to play through the entire campaign as Duke Nukem, including voice work, and that might be the biggest draw of all for anyone my age. He is as just entertaining as ever. Fashion Police Squad is a recent release that proved to be a blast. In this one, our fashionable city is attacked by fashion crimes ranging from baggy pants to socks with sandals. Now as a member of the Fashion Police Squad, we must deliver justice in style. Throughout the game, we gradually acquire these new weapons, including the Bout of Justice, a sewing machine and fabulous gloves for a special move. What sets this game apart is its unique approach to combat. Different enemies require different firepower. For instance, think using sock gnomes to eliminate offenders sporting socks and sandals, and that just never gets old throughout the entire experience. The game also has parkour style platforming, and simply put, it's one of the most unique you'll find on this video today. Boomerang X is another incredibly unique experience. Here you harness the power of a mystical boomerang to traverse challenging arenas and battle evil creatures. The world here is threatened by a dark force that cuts through the ground, and you must defend this world while uncovering the truth. Your task is to basically use your razor edge boomerang to slice through swarms of enemies while staying agile to avoid death. Your boomerang serves multiple purposes as well. It's as much designed for movement, so think slingshotting your way towards it, as it is leveraging it to take down those enemies. You can even harness time in this one, and it's just a game of moving fast and killing faster. I was a big fan, but it feels like it was incredibly overlooked at launch. Super Hot is another unique experience that comes highly recommended from me. While I would say if you have the option to play in VR, then you absolutely should, the Switch build is still fantastic. It's part strategy, part action, where you must eliminate enemies while dodging their bullets in slow motion. The idea here is enemies move only when you do. Forget reloading here as well, or health bars. One bullet can do you in, and yeah, you need to be quick and pick up weapons on the go. Just a big fan as well of the minimalist visual style that really allows you to focus in on the waves of enemies stories ahead, and it packs different modes to keep you coming back, including an endless option and challenge modes. GoldenEye 007 had to get a mention today, and like many, I adored this game back in the day, and jumping back into it, I must admit it's not quite stood the test of time, especially when factoring in the control scheme, but this can be modernized if you are willing to spend some time making some adjustments in the options. It's just a classic game though that features a nice selection of weapons, more than a few highlight moments, and the Switch build features multiplayer, and that is exclusive to the system. For many as well, kind of multiplayer here is what you will remember. It's best played then with the N64 controller if you have one to hand, but it's absolutely worth a revisit, even if it will take a little time to get used to, or at least that's the experience I personally had. Dusk is, in my opinion, the best retro throwback experience on the system, meaning it's a new game but it looks like it could have been released alongside the classics such as Doom. Here you'll find yourself battling against backwater cultists, possessed militants and even darker forces as you uncover the mysteries lurking beneath the Earth's surface over what is 3 separate campaigns. Expect everything here from melee weapons to firepower, and things really do get intense and fast paced. It even packs an endless mode and custom content, a highlight being Princess Peach's castle from the N64 days of Mario. It's called Mamma Mia Flesh Castle. Just overall a game that has a very clear idea and delivers in nearly every way. Really actually can't wait as well to see what this team does next. Overwatch 2 can be seen as more of an Overwatch 1.5 rather than a true sequel. It allowed the series to transition to a free-to-play model and introduced microtransactions to ensure the game's longevity. While the results of this approach are debatable, it stands as one of the better attempts on the system, or at least for that free-to-play concept. However, it's worth noting here that the game runs at 30 frames per second, and there is a possibility of facing players on PC and Xbox who may have a notable advantage. Now, despite these limitations, the gunplay remains solid, the hero mechanic still excels to this day, and yet the game offers 5v5 battles with a roster of 30 heroes to experiment with and 24 maps to explore. Call of Juarez, a gunslinger, is a game that's a little underappreciated in my opinion. Here you embark on an epic and often violent journey as a ruthless bounty hunter in the Wild West. Now the game pays homage to the tales of the Old West, taking you from gold mines to saloons and just immersing you in a world of legends and untold truths. Encounter and confront the deadliest gunslingers of the Wild West, including Billy the Kid, Pat Garrett, and Jesse James. Unveil the hidden stories behind these legendary outlaws as you face them down in different intense showdowns. We can personalize our skills as well, and I do think visually it looks great on the system. The only complaint I do have is gyro is here, but it's always felt just a little bit off. The Borderlands collection brings together 3 games: Borderlands Game of the Year Edition, Borderlands 2, and Borderlands the pre-sequel, along with all DLC contents. Now I would personally suggest the first game, as they can be purchased individually, but if you want bang for your buck, these games combined, it's well over 100 hours of gameplay. Now they can be played solo, but are best experienced in 2-player split screen or 4-player online, and the concept rarely deviates honestly. Play as one of a selection of Vault Hunters, each with RPG-like progression, and loot this world. It is just great fun, it's simple, but the cast is so entertaining, as is just the world of Pandora. Overall, just fantastic ports. I'd really love to see the third game eventually reach the system as well. Proteus is for old school first-person shooter fans. It's also designed to give you maximum bang for your buck thanks to a campaign, co-op, and competitive multiplayer modes, alongside a level editor and a community map browser. Now this game has really been designed to overwhelm you, as it's nearly a non-stop flow of enemies, all for you to slaughter. If you can find online matches as well, it's got some classics in here. Think Free for All, Team Deathmatch, and Capture the Flag. The Persistence is a first-person horror experience. Part of me questioned if it should be on the list today, but it has a big focus on its gunplay, so here it is. Now here we find ourselves stranded on a spaceship that is in a state of emergency. You must repair it before it collides with a black hole. The big spin on gameplay here is this is a roguelike, so death is not the end, but with progression, you will unlock new checkpoints to advance your position. I like this one because you can play all guns blazing or with a stealth approach, and it even features an asymmetrical mode that allows a second player to either help or simply destroy you via iOS or Android. The only issue here is it was a VR game originally, and you will feel that in the controls. Metro 2033 is a fantastic post-apocalyptic first-person shooter game set in the subway systems of Moscow, where the remaining population seek refuge from mutants in a desolate world. While the sequel is also available on the system, I'm opting for Metro 2033 for its strong storytelling and immersive world building. It's a slower-paced experience from many on the list today. It leans into locations that are incredibly claustrophobic, but it offers 3 modes to cater to different playstyles as well. So there's a normal mode that kind of emphasizes stealth and that slow approach, a Spartan mode for intense gunplay, and then a challenging ranger mode that dials up the difficulty and removes assistance. Think, the HUD. It's one of the best looking games on the system as well, and I really do recommend it. Hypercharge Unboxed is a game I've covered extensively here on the channel, as they've been a team kind enough to sponsor us more than a few times now over the years since launch. However, the number of updates this game has received is truly incredible, adding modes, a third-person viewpoint, characters, and just more. It's a combination of single-player modes, multiplayer modes, and wave-based tower defense, and it works together perfectly. It's the setting, though, I like the most. You assume the role of Sergeant Max Ammo, tasked with preventing the destruction of the hypercore. The fate of toys everywhere depends on your success, as the destruction of the hypercore means being forgotten by your human friends. Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus comes from the Bethesda library of first-person shooters, and like the rest of them, the game is visually stunning and the world is just so unique. Our aim here, liberate the American people in an alternate timeline. Now, this game has a brutal opening, few moments that have stuck with me over the years, and we'll get to explore multiple states from Manhattan to New Orleans. The gunplay is about as good as it gets, in my opinion, and while it can be tough and packs modern ideas, it still feels heavily influenced by the old school, which I actually think for the series is a must. It's just incredibly fast-paced at the same time. The sequel spin-off also launched on the system, but that one, it's not all that loved. Duke Nukem 3D World Tour 20th Anniversary Edition is how you do a re-release the right way. You pack in as much of the original DLC as possible, though a few were unfortunately restricted, and then build out a new extension to the main campaign from that original team. They even added here a new weapon and re-recorded and added new lines of dialogue, and that's perhaps what the series is now most well known for. Back in the day, this was considered as adult as they come. It's honestly pretty tame now, but you can see why it's still considered a classic. The gameplay has stood the test of time. They even included online multiplayer here as well for local or online play, and there's actually an option as well to play the main campaign in co-op. They kept it cheap too as well, which I absolutely respect. Void Bastards received a 6 out of 10 score in my review due to frame rate issues. However, upon further gameplay, I realised that it offers an incredibly unique experience that simply outweighs its drawbacks. While not the best in terms of gunplay, the game provides some great moments, and it's just overall a unique formula. So here, we find ourselves stranded on a prison ship, and instead of sending employees, they use prisoners with different traits. It is a roguelike game, so each time you die, you start anew with a different prisoner who may have these unique characteristics. Think different heights, color blindness, or a tendency to alert enemies when finding loot. You must navigate through a star map, gather fuel and food, and survive encounters with numerous enemies along the way. Voice work's a little annoying. If I had any complaints, I will add that, but overall, just a fantastic experience. Ion Fury is a modern spin on the old school first-person shooter style. It's developed by the Legends of 3D Realms of Duke Nukem fame. Set in a cyberpunk metropolis, you assume the role of Shelley Bombshell Harrison on a mission to defeat the evil transhumanist Dr. Jadis Heskell in the streets of Neo DC. The world features branching pathways leading to a nice amount of exploration and secrets. Then there's a decent selection of weapons and some modern sensibilities as well. I think headshots, alternate fire modes, and different ammo types. This is a good option for those that want all-out action. It's pretty much non-stop from beginning to end, and it's going to take you across 7 different zones with multiple levels packed into each. Dying Light is another game that I nearly didn't include today because for many it will be first-person survival over anything else, but it leans into its gunplay enough that I think genre fans could get a kick out of it. This is a massive open world and you are investigating an evil dictator while undercover. It just happens this world is also full of the undead. Now, alongside the gunplay here, do expect less hand-holding and basically a design that's been made to drive exploration. In my opinion, the parkour movement in particular is unmatched. However, alongside the base game then, you will get a huge amount of DLC as well. From the base game content add-ons, I guess, to new entire stories. I'm still surprised they pulled this off on Switch hardware, and it even received a patch to stabilize some wobbles in the frame rate. Weirdly, because of an old ban, you can't grab this digitally in the UK or across Europe, so you may need to go physical or grab it from the US and Canadian stores. BioShock, and you'll find the entire trilogy on the system, all fantastic games, but I want to highlight the original today. It changed how I viewed first-person shooters personally, with an incredibly in-depth storyline and just the world. It was unlike any I had seen before, just this dystopian underwater world of rapture. It was supposed to be somewhere for great minds to exist together, but it clearly descended into madness and mayhem. Now, along this journey, acquire unique weapons and supernatural abilities, splice DNA to further develop this toolset, meet the little sisters and big daddies, and then get to the bottom of what occurred here. It also features a museum, challenge rooms, and a director's commentary, and this game is easily a must-play. Quake is for me the best port of a retro first-person shooter on the system. Duke Nukem would be the close second. It's because this is just a love letter to the game, where they went above and beyond with features and content while maintaining a low price. First, it got the expected HD upgrade and widescreen support, but also then enhanced models, new lighting, and depth of field adjustments. And that's just the beginning as well. For modes, expect the campaign, expansion packs including a brand new story, a horde mode online and local multiplayer including co-op, the ability to download custom mods and missions, crossplay, and they even introduced motion controls. The highlight for me then, they retained Trent Reznor's music, which is an absolute must. Turok is another classic, and we get both the first game and the sequel on the Switch. Today I'm going to be going with Turok 2 Seeds of Evil as my choice, but both are going to be worth checking out, especially if you grew up on them like me. The story is relatively simple here, but our role is to prevent a potentially devastating event by, of course, taking down evil. In my opinion, you just can't beat dinosaurs as an enemy, and expect here to have everything from classic kind of dinos to evolved variations. It has been remastered, it's still showing its age for sure in its level design, but I'll always have a place in my collection for it, and I'd actually love to see a new entry. Project Warlock is another recent release influenced by classic first-person shooters. If I had to compare this one to a game on today's list, that would be Ion of Fury. I would transparently, however, choose this game over that one. I feel it takes a few more risks that do pay off. Here we take on the role of a mysterious warlock though and unleash chaos across time and space. We'll explore 60 levels in varied settings, combat numerous enemies, and face powerful bosses. Expand your arsenal with 38 unique weapons and customize your hero with upgrade points and perks, and that's the bit I really do like. Just fast-paced action, it's intense, and yeah, I liked it enough that I picked up a copy physically thanks to a release from Super Rare Games. Immortal Redneck is a first-person shooter set in Egypt with roguelite elements, and here we'll battle hordes of mummies using over 50 weapons as you explore the deadly pyramids. It's old-school gameplay combined with randomly generated dungeons and 9 playable classes featuring each unique skills. Just a warning, I thought this was one of the more challenging experiences on the list by design, but along the way upgrade your character, discover powerful scroll modifiers, and face off against bosses to progress. Of course, if you die then you try again. You'll constantly want to upgrade equipment here and purchase supplies if you do intend to survive. Good fun to jump into this one for short bursts when you do get an opportunity. Journey to the Savage Planet blends its first-person action with exploration. Think Metroid, where the game will require specific skills or items to progress your position. I always feel like this game is a little slept on, but it's so well done, from an interesting world to a simple but effective sense of humor. Your role in this game is to determine if this world is going to be suitable for human habitation. It's another one that can be played solo but supports co-op play too, and expect just all sorts of weird and wonderful enemies. This game is also then about resource gathering, so you can convert it into needed items. Basically, it's not all out action, but I'm a big fan and I really like that adventure combination. Doom Eternal needs little introduction, and while we can get the 2016 release and all retro entries on the system, I've decided today to opt for this one, mainly because it was just long awaited for me. Battle against Hell's armies as the Slayer to save humanity. Expect here some of the most intense combat out there, upgrade weapons, uncover new abilities, and just become the ultimate Slayer. Recover health, armor, and ammo then by strategically defeating enemies, and that really kind of keeps the action quick. It's just a fantastic concept. The only thing I didn't enjoy, it's the weak multiplayer aspect, a 2v1 idea, where they should have honestly just stuck with a more traditional setup in my opinion, where we could jump in and slay as we please. Neon White kicks off the final 3 games, and as I said, today's list is in no particular order, but these final choices, they are my personal current top 3, and this may be a controversial addition, as it's definitely a unique spin on the first-person shooter world, but I'd have no idea what other genre to attach it to. It calls itself an action platformer for transparency, however, and yeah, here it's set in heaven and you play as White, an assassin chosen from hell to compete with other demon slayers for a chance at redemption. You'll collect soul cards for unique attacks and movement abilities, and you'll discover shortcuts to compete for the best times. Along the journey, you need to uncover the mysteries of heaven and the connection between the assassins. Think part here almost visual and novel, and then speedruns through brief locations where cards translate to different attack types, but they also have a limited use count. Watch my full review, it's incredibly difficult to sum up quickly, but a must-play game, and yeah, the only thing some may complain about, you can't see the guns on screen, which won't be to everyone's taste. Metroid Prime Remastered then is only my second choice today because it's a little more again than just a first-person shooter. It's got a heavy focus on exploration, the Metroid element, and then also environmental puzzles. Surprisingly tough game as well, I will add that. It's extremely easy here to get lost. Now, I played it back in the day and they did it absolute justice here. In fact, it's perhaps one of the best looking first-party games on the system, and its creativity is still just incredible to this day. They even packed it full of different control schemes, and here we will be battling enemies along this journey to uncover the secrets of the Metroid Prime. This is recommended to anyone that owns a Switch. It is a piece of gaming history. Crisis Remastered is my final game of the video, and the trilogy is available on the system, but the first will always be my favourite. At the time of release it was ambitious, and even today it's still one of the best looking games on the system. Many doubted it would actually run on Switch hardware as well, but they did a great job, even if there is a few moments where the frame rate they do struggle. Unfortunately, that's the case on nearly any system, so you can't tie that to the Nintendo Switch. The idea here though is we are responding to an emergency on a remote set of islands, but what we discover here is an alien invasion. Now we must fight back, and that's through an open world which lets you choose how you play. It also features the fantastic Nano Suit, which has abilities such as invincibility, armor, and super strength. It gets my number 1 spot today as it's a pretty traditional entry for the genre, but it still has enough tweaks to ensure it feels unique. And that is 30 first-person shooters worth checking out on the Nintendo Switch. Now, did I miss anything? Let me know in the comments, and also which genre entries come highly recommended from you. With that, hit subscribe, join us here for reviews, deals, news, and lists daily, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.